adjust your mindset. Do not go into a relationship and be the one to pull yourself down. Do not shut the door on yourself. We have to be very careful about what we believe about ourselves. Where is that belief coming from? Many times you think that the perception that you have of yourself came from yourself. You really need to go now and settle down and ask yourself, where did these perceptions come from? You may be carrying something that the world has given to you. You have to be careful too. That's why I say, do not be conformed to this world. You have to ask yourself, where are you getting your belief and perceptions from? If you didn't get it from somebody who loves you, and if they are negative, the worst thing that you can do to yourself is to accept those beliefs onto yourself and to carry that spirit, because the perceptions that we have of ourselves are usually given to us either through our experiences or told to us directly, or by the reflection and the response that we get from other people. But remember this, we were born out of our mother's wombs, knowing nothing, having no ideas, nothing. And all of a sudden, we begin to understand certain things and see ourselves in a certain way. And the only way that we see ourselves in a certain way is because the environment and the people there have projected something onto us. Yeah, everybody knows this story. If you take a plant and you're speaking negatively to it, that plant and another one that you're speaking positively to, that their growth will be different. And the same thing as when you have a child, and if you start to say to the child, you are so stupid, you are not smart, you are this, you are that, you are that. Or if you take another child that you're constantly praising. For instance, say a child who's always first in class after the results or second. Every time that child comes home and you're talking to the child about how they're so great, they're so great, they're so great. Do you know that child will continue working towards being first or second in class? If they get to be fourth, they would feel like they haven't done as much as they could. They would feel like they've stepped back in who they really are. Whereas there are people who will be 15th in class and they'll be excited, they'll be so happy. But here is somebody who, because they've been seeing themselves as first, second, when they get to the position of fourth, they feel like this is not good enough. So it's all about perception, right? Somebody is excited about being the 15th, but somebody is thinking this is not good enough because they've built a perception about themselves and they've set a bar for themselves. So this is what it is. So your mind is playing tricks on you. And you think that what you have in your mind and in your subconscious is real. It is not real. It is only real to you. My discovery that our minds create our experiences and actually manifest in the physical and become what we have as our relationships was completely by accident. And it came in 3 phases. And the thing about us is that as human beings, I was about to say that we're stubborn, but it's not really that we're stubborn. It is that we have been programmed from the moment that we begin to understand life and begin to see things. And if we're not conscious of the programming, if somebody has not called us aside and mentioned to us, you see this thing is programming you, we wouldn't know that we're just there unintentionally absorbing. And after absorbing these things, they begin to live within us. They are living in our cells. And we go out into the world and we work according to what we've absorbed. I now call it downloading software, downloading faulty software. And not all of it is bad. A lot of it is essential. For instance, we grow up within families. And within families, there are rules and regulations. There are things to do and things to not do, things to abide by. However, because we have to follow certain rules, we become used to needing to be confirmed, needing to be validated, needing to be approved of. And that is important because if we're not conscious of being approved of, a lot of us could go out there and just be careless with our behavior. So it is good. But what that has done is that it conditions our minds to do some things on automation, so that an average person, it's important that when we go into a place, we are concerned about being approved of. But that is not right. It should only be to a certain extent. But the lines get blurry because when the brain has done something over and over and over, it just becomes something that we do on automation. And we don't even think that I should draw the line here. The only time that we begin to draw the lines is when we actually become conscious of something because we have had some experiences or because somebody has directly taught us, draw the line here. These are things that you need to be aware of or conscious of. So now let me tell you how I learned with my friend. Even after I discovered this with my friend, I didn't apply it to every area of life. I'd already had two great revelations about how the mind creates our realities. I still went on ahead in life to take big decisions without remembering that. So now let me just tell you about this one with my friend. In another video, I have talked about the first one in brief, and I will link that video here so that if you're interested, you can look at it. Learn to live a good quality of life so that I am not one of those people who lies in my bed at night worrying about something that I actually have the power to deal with. She would come to me with things that I felt, come on, this is beautiful. But I found that she was always doubting herself about those things. She was always needing me to tell her if she was good enough. And I would always confirm to her, this is fantastic. And the irony was that at the same time, I was struggling with those things. But she felt also has got everything together. And yet I didn't. But now, because she was looking up to me at that time, I couldn't share mine with her because how do I now turn around to start giving her mine? And after I would have confirmed those things to her, this is great, she would come back again and be asking me again. I realized before I met her, I thought that everything was wonderful about her. I felt, my goodness, you have this is so great, this is so great. And all that didn't change my perception of her at all. And then one day it occurred to me, she's always asking for more confirmation and validation over something that I have already confirmed. And I knew for sure that she's asking about something that she didn't even be worried about because other people also felt that those things were great. Then it occurred to me, the things that we know that she has are more than enough. She's feeling that they're not enough. Isn't it? I am also wrongly judging myself. So what if where I would go before with trepidation and trembling, being afraid of not being accepted, of not being enough with my offerings, when whereas I would have gone to present things fearfully, how about that I'm actually wrong and I'm misjudging myself? You're wrong in the way that you're seeing this thing. So I decided that I would go and present with confidence. And lo and behold, when I went to present with confidence, not only was I totally accepted, I was applauded. The same presentation that I was giving, applauded, and people were flocking around me like bees. But all the time I had been presenting before, I was presenting with fear and trembling. The reception wasn't special. So the same me, but with a different belief in what I had to offer. People are responding to that perception, and because that is what we're displaying, that is what people get to see, and that is what they accept of us. You may be carrying something and you don't understand or realize what you're carrying. You're telling yourself a story. Okay, let me backtrack. The reason why I felt that those things that I had to offer were not good enough was because something had happened in life, in the course of life. Something had happened that placed me in an environment where somebody was speaking words to me directly, telling me very horrible and negative things over and over and over. And even though that wasn't what I had before I got to that environment, it began to sink into my spirit. And I took on that spirit of negativity. I actually took on that belief. See, that's what I'm saying about experiences in life. We come into this world and certain things we get exposed to begin to shape our understanding of life and our perception of ourselves. And if we take that perception of ourselves and we begin to work in it, we will go out there and we'll actually display that perception. And because that is what we're displaying, that is what people get to see, and that is what they accept of us. Whereas the perception that this person had given to me about me and my offerings was not true. Because before I got into that environment, I was already being accepted for those same things. But the human mind, because I was under pressure at the time I was in that environment, I somehow forgot about all that. And I took on this belief that you actually don't have anything to give. And so when I went out to present myself, I presented myself in that tone, with that energy, with that spirit. And that spirit is what I was using to relate with them. And because I was relating with them in that way, that was the perception and the belief that they had of me. And that was the value that they gave me. Because when I went to present to these other people with negativity, I gave them that. What I gave them is what they gave back to me. When I went to present to these other people with positivity, with the assurance and the belief that I was great in what I was presenting, that's what they absorbed. And that's the way that they saw me. So we started, right? You go somewhere and you see that people are treating you in a certain way. Before you begin to accuse those people, look at yourself and look at what you're doing. What are you doing? Is it possible that I'm doing something that is causing this, that is triggering this? Here's it. The final thing I will say is there was a time that I had to stay with one family, and the woman's sister was being very nasty to me. She was being very mean to me. And when I complained to the woman said, "What you give is what you get." And in my mind, I was thinking, what is she talking about? Because I knew that I wasn't mean to that girl. Now I understand it. I know that I didn't do anything directly to her. But I went there. The truth is that I was already, walking on eggshells. So because I was walking on eggshells and I wasn't free, that was what the girl gave back to me. She is a naturally mean person because I did nothing to warrant what she did. But had I gone there with a different air, I definitely would have got a different response. So I hope that this helps you to know how to adjust your mindset. Do not go into a relationship and be the one to pull yourself down. Do not shut the door on yourself. We have to be very careful about what we believe about ourselves. Where is that belief coming from? A line that I remember says, "Whose report do we believe?" I want to tell you how you can naturally acquire this positive mindset, because those things are not easy to get over unless you have a glaring revelation. Those things aren't easy to get over.